Yes, I agree with President Obama's decision to not release photos depicting the death of bin Laden. And the reason I think that is because that's our president, we voted for him, and that's one of the entitlements to being president. And if they're thinking it'll incite violence and problems for our troops and Americans around the world, I have to agree with him and back him up.
Okay, I thought, well, it depends why it needs to be released. There was a question whether they really got him or not, but I think it was off. But the reason why people probably want it is to celebrate the death of someone, which I find awful. There was just a question at one point whether they really got him or not, and that was one reason why the photo would have been important. But now to release the photos and to have other Americans disgustingly dance in the street, you know, with a photo of a dead man, I think I would be against that. So that's probably why he's not releasing it, and he's right.
Yeah, I just seems bad taste to publish a picture of this guy with a bullet hole in his head. I don't have much more thoughts on it other than that.
So I don't disagree with Obama's decision to not publish the photo of Osama bin Laden. I think if he did publish a photo, for most people, myself included, it would just be a curiosity. For some people, they actually might not believe that Osama bin Laden has been killed. Some people don't believe he exists, so that would be confirmation. The fact that Obama had to actually publish his birth certificate is the same sort of ilk that you'd be pandering to in terms of publishing the photo. But personally, I would be disapprove either way if you published it.
I think that the fact that we went out and killed Osama bin Laden was not the correct decision. I think to capture him would have been better, but I can see, because the rule of law is more important than anything, and that's what's being constantly broken by the United States, internationally, especially in these wars of choice that we've been involved in. As far as releasing the images, of course, it is a much better idea, both politically and morally and ethically, not to release the images. What purpose would it serve if Al-Qaeda has already recognized that Osama bin Laden has been killed, and we don't need to dwell in such a low energy of seeing a mutilated body. Why don't you ask me what I think about Gaddafi and whether we should be going after him? I think that's equally as reprehensible. Gaddafi's the head of a government, irrespective of whether or not we think he's the legitimate head. It's really not up to France and the United States and the NATO countries to decide things like this. After all, arguably President Bush's second term was an illegitimate second term, but we didn't have Gaddafi and Sarkozy targeting. Arguably, President Bush's second term was an illegitimate second term, given what happened with Al Gore in Florida. But we didn't have foreign countries targeting our president and deciding that we need to get him out, because some people felt he was illegitimate. There's just no end in sight when the United States or the NATO countries unilaterally decide to target foreign leaders. And if it was really an ethical, moral decision because Gaddafi is so bad, and I agree that he is so bad, then we have allies in Kazakhstan, in the president of Syria, for example. We have that, these are our friends and our allies, and so it's really completely non-altruistic and immoral precedent.